channel, it's Hillary Jubilee. If you're new, I talk about manifestation, conscious creation, and the law of assumption. If you're into those topics, please hit the subscribe button down below and give this video a like if you'd be so kind. And we will get into it. Before we do, I want to mention I do offer coaching. It is currently full at the moment, but I will update when there are spots open. Okay, so today's video is about how to get into the state of the wish fulfilled, a very important topic. So the first thing we need to understand when talking about states and how to get into the state of the wish fulfilled is that we are not our human ego, our human identity. We're much more than that. This is very important to understand. We are not just our human selves. We are underneath our human mask, or our role, human state. We are God. So really let that sink in. Our human identity, our ego is not who we are. We are not our thoughts. We are not our feelings. We are not our human, we're not our human name, our human identity, our race, how we look. That's not who we truly are. Underneath all of that is God. Infinite intelligence, source, inner being, whatever you want to call it. That's who we really are underneath. And that is fundamental to understand. We are God having a human experience and God experiencing infinite amounts of human states. I always like to say, if someone in your reality is exhibiting behaviors that you don't like, you can see through that, because that's just a state they're occupying. See them as God in a state. And when you can see through that state that they're in and see who they truly are, which is God, you can lift them up out of that state into a more lovely state. Bambi! Regardless of how somebody else is showing up, you want to be able to see through that and see that they're God. Not only are they you pushed out, but they're God in a state. When you can see through that and see that they're actually God, they're not that state of being, that unlovely state of being, those behaviors that you're seeing that you don't like, that's not who they really are. So when you can see through that and see them as God, you have the power to lift them out of that state into something more desirable by seeing them in a different light in your imagination first. And that's a whole different video. But if you can see yourself as God, that's a very fundamental thing to understand. So we're always in some kind of state or multiple different states. So some examples of different states that could be possible are: you're coming from a fear state, a love state, abundance, lack, married, single, victim, creator, employed, unemployed, mother, teacher, homeowner, cat mom, dog mom, daughter, son, grandmother. The list goes on and on and on. And in relation to your desire, it could be like, if your desire is a car, I'm going to use a car example here in a bit, but the state of somebody who owns a car, you are that version of you who owns the car. And there's another version of you who doesn't own a car. So there's just infinite amounts of different states that you could be in, and you're in more than one at one time, and you're never not in a state. You're always in some type of state. You sitting here watching this video, sitting, standing, whatever, right now you're in some sort of state or multiple states. It's what you believe you are. You would be thinking each state comes with a certain set of thoughts, feelings, beliefs, assumptions. You can tell what kind of a state you're in by what kind of thoughts are naturally coming to you and how you feel. Remember, you are not your state. You are not your state. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. Who you truly are is infinite God. One thing I like to talk about when talking about getting into the state of the wish fulfilled is that knowing. There's an effortless knowing that comes with it. So here comes the car example. So if you own a car and it's sitting in your driveway, are you constantly worrying about it, wondering where it is? Why isn't it here yet? No, you're not wondering where it is. You're not asking why it's not here yet. You're not worried about it in any capacity. It's just an effortless knowing. You know it's there. It's there when you feel the need to go to the grocery store, or when you feel the need to go anywhere, to drive anywhere. You have a knowing, which is sort of in the background. You go about your life as normal, and you have an effortless knowing that that car is yours and that it's there. There's no neediness. There's no lack. There's an obvious difference in feeling from not having a car to having a car, especially if you desire to have one and you don't have one. So if you don't have a car and this example doesn't work for you, just imagine like your phone. You have a knowing that that phone is yours or whatever, something that you maybe take for granted or that is already yours. Doesn't matter. In this case, I'm just going to use a car. It's sitting in your driveway. You just know it's there. It's an effortless knowing that it's there. You don't feel neediness about it because you can't need something that you already have. So that knowing that it's there and that it's yours, that specific feeling, you can copy and paste onto your desire. So Neville Goddard, side note about Neville Goddard, if you're watching my channel and you've never heard of Neville Goddard, or you've never listened or read his books or heard his lectures, please do that. That's it's a fundamental, it'll change your life. All of the answers you could ever need, like literally just go to the source and listen to Neville, because as much as I love that you're here watching my video right now, I appreciate you. The way that he describes things and the examples that he has are priceless. And even if you've already read every Neville book, when you go back and you read them again, you get new gems each time. So I'm constantly listening to a little bit of Neville each day or reading a little bit. It just keeps the faith. It helps you keep the faith and reminds you of your power. So that's just a side note about Neville. I really encourage you to go there. All of his books and lectures are free on YouTube. It's really easy to find them. Anyways, Neville Goddard talks about the fact that, well, it's also in the Bible, but he interprets the Bible in a different way. It's in not a religious way and not in as secular history, but as a drama of the mind, he says. Anyways, in the Bible, and what Neville says is that your desires are a gift from God. Okay, and one thing I really love about what Jennifer Ramdio in the I Am Love podcast says, and if you haven't seen that podcast, I highly recommend that as well, but she talks about this little part about where Neville talks about your desires being a gift from God. And Jennifer says, when somebody hands you a gift, you don't throw it on the floor. You don't throw a fit. You don't ask where it is, why it took so long to get here. Where is it? Why isn't it here yet? You don't ask how it's going to get to you. You don't whine and cry and, throw a tantrum. Someone's handing you a gift, you accept it and you say thank you. And it's the same for your desires. Law of assumption. If you get a desire, it means you're meant to have it and it already exists somewhere. You would not desire it if it did not already exist. So as soon as you get the desire, immediately the best thing to do is to assume it's already yours. Accept it and say thank you. And just paste that knowing that it is already yours. It's a done deal. It's on its way, or it's already yours. Either it's inevitable that it's going to be coming, that knowing that you're definitely going to get it, or it's already mine. I already got it. Thank you. So I'm going to quote Neville Goddard here. You don't have to remain in a state if you have made a mistake. You can change state morning, noon, and night, but the state you most constantly return constitutes your dwelling place. So you're never going to remain in the state 24/7. It's just not going to happen. We're going to shift through multiple states throughout the day. But ultimately, there's no magical formula for getting into the state of the wish fulfilled. What it really boils down to is a decision you make. That you're sick and tired of seeing the same old stuff in your 3D, that you're going to make a decision to shift states within so that you can see different results without. If you keep on thinking the same old negative stuff, you're going to keep on creating that same old negative stuff out into your 3D. So it's a decision you make. I am now this. If you're sick of being poor, I am wealthy. You just flip the state and you declare it and you decide it. I am now this. And you go about your day as if you are that now. So you would ask yourself, how would I carry myself throughout my day? How would I be thinking? How would I be acting? How would I be feeling if this thing was already mine right now? as if it was normal and natural, that desire was already mine. So if you desire to be in a relationship, you'd need to embody the version of you who is in a relationship now. It's a very specific, different feeling. And I don't mean positive vibes, happy, ecstatic all of the time. No. We're not talking about law of attraction, vibration. You can compare states to vibration if you want, but I don't mean like raising your vibration on the emotional scale. It's not emotions. When you're in any certain state, let's go back to the car example. If you've got your car sitting in the driveway, you're still going to have off days. You're a human being. You're still going to have days where you have, something happens and you get upset. That's fine. The car isn't going to disappear from your driveway. When you have an off day, you don't need to make it mean anything. Everything is empty and meaningless. Humans are meaning-making machines. We just assign meaning to things. So don't beat yourself up if you have an off day or if you're having doubts or fears. Like, you're human. You're allowed to have those things. Each state's going to have a range of emotions in it. You want to keep stepping back into that knowing that it's already yours. But don't beat yourself up if you have, low emotions or a low day, But again, the state of being in a relationship or being with somebody is a distinctly different feeling than being single. You think different thoughts throughout your day. You wouldn't be saying, oh, I'm going to be alone forever. That's not a thought that you would be thinking if you were already in a relationship now. So be very aware of what thoughts you're allowing to go through your mind. Stop negative thoughts in their tracks and, reverse them. I'm in a happy, loving relationship now. I love my partner so much. He or she cares for me. I love how they show up for me. It's that effortless knowing that it is already yours and thinking from that state. Going about your day in that feeling as if you already had it now. There's no neediness. There's no emptiness. There's no lack. It's just a calm knowing that is mine, and move on with your day. So fears and doubts do not stop your manifestation. You're a human being. You're going to have, those negative emotions come up at some times, those doubts that come up sometimes. That's natural. That's normal. You just keep telling yourself it's already mine. When those come up, nope, it's already mine. According to the Bible and Neville, you only need a mustard seed sized bit of faith. And to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen a mustard seed, but apparently they're tiny. So you just need a little tiny bit of faith in either your imagination, that imagining creates reality, or that your thoughts create, as Create Your Future says. You just need that tiny little bit of faith that you are powerful, you are God. So I believe the state that we dwell in is very important, because if we continue to dwell in a lack state and affirm from that lack state, there's just a lot more resistance there. Not saying it's impossible to get your desire by doing that, but in my opinion, it's going to take longer, because when you're affirming, it's not your words that manifest. There's no magical combination of words. You're changing you. So here's a quote from Neville on vain affirmations. You do not command things to appear by your words or loud affirmations. Such vain repetition is more often than not confirmation of the opposite. So confirmation of the opposite, like you're affirming to fix or change something you see that is a problem in your 3D. That's not the way to go about it. A lot of people come into manifesting to fix a problem or as a means to an end. How do I fix this thing in my 3D? I feel this lack. And how do I fill this lack? So when you're coming from that lack state where, oh, there's something that needs to be fixed. How do I fix it? How do I fix it? No, you're God. Nothing is separate. There's nothing to fix. There are no issues. When you realize that you're God, you don't need anything. So the vain affirmations, affirming from a lack state of being, as opposed to making a decision to shift states, to shift who you are, who you're being in every now moment, to assume that you're already the version of you who has that house, car, relationship, job, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, rather than to embody that state and that version of you, and you keep coming back to that state until your 3D reality shifts to meet you. So again, we're not affirming to fix or change a problem, because if you're if you're doing that, you're inadvertently still focusing on the lack or still focusing on the problem. When you're affirming, you're changing yourself. You're changing who you are and who you're being. You repeat the affirmations to remind yourself that it's already yours. You're changing yourself and your state by affirming or visualizing or scripting or whatever technique that you want to use. It's not the techniques that manifest, it's you and changing who you are being in every moment. So how do you remain in that state? You can't always be in the state of the wish fulfilled. We're always just moving and changing through states constantly. But you make that conscious decision that you are now already that which you desire to be. And if you notice you've slipped out of it, step back in. It's as easy as that. It's not something complicated. It's just you make the decision and you come to a point where you're just sick of the same old stuff that, okay, I'm going to choose now, because we choose our thoughts, we choose our feelings. I'm going to choose now to be somebody else. I'm sick and tired of that old version of me who keeps getting the same old version results. Now I'm going to shift. I'm deciding now. So to remain, you remind yourself of who you are and who you have decided that you now are by inner conversations, your thoughts, your affirmations. And then from there, all you do is you practice it, because at first it can seem a little bit difficult at first, but unless you begin to think about who you would be if you already had that now, you're not going to shift. You have to make that decision to start practicing it now. The more you practice it, the easier it gets to step into it. Practice and persist. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Can we not do that right now? Honey bunny. Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Hillary Jubilee. If you're new, Hey. No matter what, how they're... Bambi! Oh my goodness.